broadcasting from Truth or Consequences, a place where the towels are all so fluffy. My name, Papa Crunch, and this is Fearless Radio.
They're preparing to fire their primary weapon.
Hey everybody, thanks for clicking the video. Good to have you with us on the program. October 2011 in the Chicago studios, electronic music pioneer Thomas Dolby in the studio with Fearless Chris. Gotta tell you, it was a great interview. Everything from Ted to David Byrne. They covered his new music, first in almost 20 years. You should take a listen. But first, here's our good friend, Mr. Christopher Walken. Take it away.
Fearless Radio. No FCC. No apologies, man. I don't give a man. Turn it off. Go ahead. Turn it off. Why are you still listening?
And welcome back, everybody. Fearless Radio's new music binge. And I am continuing on with a fantastic day for me. It is such an honor and a pleasure to welcome Mr. Thomas Dolby to the studio today. Thomas, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're looking good.
Thank you.
You're looking fantastic. Now, one of my favorite things to do on the internet, and I have to limit myself because hours and days go by, is TED. TED.com.
Right.
And you've been a part... The talks, the performances just blow me away. How has it been performing more than one time? You've been there several times.
Well, I mean, it's fantastic because over the course of the 4 days at TED, the intellectual stimulation is almost overpowering. Mm-hmm. And so after a few hours of hearing the most wonderful speakers, you just need some relief. And so it's a great honor for musicians to play there and sprinkle a little fairy dust on the proceedings. It lets people sort of assimilate, and process what they're hearing. And so we've brought in some great talent ranging from really known people like Paul Simon and Peter Gabriel, Regina Spektor, Jamie Cullum, Sheryl Crow, through to virtually unknown people like Jake Shimabukuro, who is a virtuoso ukulele player.
I'm on his mailing list.
Right, okay, so he was a YouTube sensation, but most of the TED audience had never heard from him. And he came and he got up there on stage and he performed Bohemian Rhapsody from start to finish, note for note, on a ukulele.
Amazing, amazing. So TED.com, check it out. Search for Thomas Dolby. Did I see David Byrne was with you at one point as well?
Yes, so David came to give a talk about acoustics of buildings. Typical David Byrne-esque sort of speech, and about how he found out that bird song varies between the prairies and the canopy, depending on the acoustics. And he'd noticed that with his band, as they went from CBGBs to stadiums, it sort of affected the music that they wrote. And David Byrne, as he gave this talk, he was sort of strutting about the stage like a little bird, and he'd said that he wasn't going to perform, but my house band, had prepared a version of Nothing But Flowers, and so once he'd got his talk done and he'd loosened up a little bit, he came up and jammed with us and sang Nothing But Flowers.
Oh, how fun. That must have just been
And you can see that clip on TED.com.
And I highly recommend it, but give yourself some time because you're going to stay there for a while. Well, following up with, you've played with these amazing artists and they've gotten a chance to play with you, all the way to unknowns, independent musicians, which is what Fearless Radio, we're all about supporting independent music and getting new music out there. I know we've got a short amount of time, but from the time that you began in the music industry to the immense changes that have gone on, especially in the last 5 years, just a short kind of talk about what it has done for the music industry and musicians. Has it been a democratization of the process, or have we suffered because of the changes in labels and whatnot?
Well, look at it this way. When you're 17 and you've got talent, you believe that the moment the world hears your music, they're going to fall in love with you and you'll be an overnight sensation, right? But when I was 17, that was a fib, because first, some A&R guy at a record company had to fall in love with me and then get me signed, and then the marketing department, the radio promotion department, the retailers, all of those people had to fall in line before the public ever would get to hear, my music. So it was a fib. But today, it's actually true that, you could be in your pajamas in your bedroom, do a YouTube video on your laptop, put it up, and in the morning you're a superstar. That's what happened to Jessie J, or be on X Factor. And so I think this is a very healthy thing, both for musicians and for music fans, that the technology and the disintermediation of the labels and the whole distribution system has been short-circuited. And now a musician, when you sit down to write a song, you're just thinking about your audience. You're not thinking about all of these industry guys in between.
Yeah, I agree with the most part of that. The one thing I would say, though, is I look around and sometimes it seems like just a little bit of lack of funding, that there are amazing musicians out there that if they had the opportunity, just a little bit more behind them to get out on tour and build audience, and that's what the labels used to do for them. And I think that's changed the landscape a little bit.
You're right, but the labels used to do that for a tiny minority.
That's
and
true.
It wasn't necessarily the best. It was the labels' view, from their godlike perch of what was appropriate to spoon feed to the public. And so I think, my view overall is it's nothing but positive. I feel bad for somebody that works for a record company. But
yes.
Like any other industry, like the motor industry, like steel, like shipbuilding, things change, the world changes and you just have to move on.
Could ask questions all afternoon. Well, we got to get you on the road over to Martyrs tonight here in Chicago. Check out Thomas's website, like I said, linked up on Fearless Radio's homepage. There are U.S. dates and then the U.K. coming up next month. You're going back and doing a tour.
Doing a full tour with a band. But I should be back in Chicago in the spring with the band.
Oh, excellent.
And I'll be doing a full North American tour in the spring with full instrumentation. Well,
I want to thank you once again very much for taking time out to talk to us today at Fearless Radio. This is Thomas Dolby, and we're going to listen to the Toad Lickers in its entirety here. Like I said, go check out the video. You will be amazed. Thomas, thank you again.
Nice to be here.
You're listening to the best thing going on in your ears. Fearless Radio.
Plane that's coming over. All radio is dead.